This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom, the number one story right now in sports is what's going on with Damar Hamlin. I know that you've probably had to take in a lot of news as of late with Razorback and football and basketball, but as we welcome you in this morning, just kind of your thoughts on what occurred on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's a somber day in the world of sports. Morning, everyone. Yes, it's a somber day in the world of sports because we really haven't seen anything like this. I was watching the game and saw the tackle. Looked like a relatively normal tackle. But we've seen in other sports, sometimes if you take a blow to the chest, just the right, force, the timing in the electrical impulses in your body. I've read stories before where hockey pucks have hit people in the chest, caused cardiac arrest. Baseballs, obviously, just getting punched in the chest sometimes. So I think, not to speculate about like what's going to happen, but it's just a sad deal, and I mean it causes grown men to cry. And I know there's been incidents on the field before, but nothing quite like this.
Yeah, I was. People were bringing up a couple different things: Gathers, Earnhardt, some of the names that have been brought to the attention by a few of our listeners this morning. Tom, what do you do if you're a Buffalo Bills teammate or a Cincinnati opposing player in the coming days? Tommy brought up the mental stability of both teams. How do you kind of resolve yourself after what occurred last night?
That's a tough question because it's such. It's not completely unprecedented, but in our times, it is unprecedented. You have to square yourself away with what you do. It's your livelihood. So many guys who play the sport understand how blessed they are that they're playing a game and they get well compensated for it. But to have thought that they could start the game back up last night was ludicrous. And perhaps. I don't know about the whole 5 minutes to warm up thing. Certainly that wasn't going to happen, but I don't know if they try to make up the game. I mean, it's a tough deal to like reprogram and get back on the field and start tackling people again. But that's what they do as a living, and I'm sure there's going to be a process for these guys. And I don't know when they would be able to play, but I think the focus is just that the young man Hamlin regains consciousness and is able to keep living.
Yeah, one thing he has on his side is youth. I mean, you don't expect things like this with 24-year-old people and young adults, but if we know anything else, Tom, with a few years under our belt, youth can't be substituted, and if anything else, what he has in his corner is a young age and a strong body.
Absolutely, that's the case, and a strong constitution and all that. So I'm sure they're doing the best they can, and hopefully, his strong body will recover.
Yeah. All right, let's shift to some Arkansas football news because we've been talking about the portal with a couple of more players entering. Simeon Blair, who was a captain for you after Catalan was unable to complete the season. And then Jordan Domineck has entered the transfer portal. Arkansas is, I think it's north of 25 now. I've lost track on the number of players that have entered the portal.
Yeah, I did a tally last night, and I had it at 24, and that's a huge number. I think Texas A&M was at 24, and, you look at them, and you think problem. So if Texas A&M has 24 and Arkansas has 24. It's almost a third of your scholarships available. It's a huge number, and I know that there's a percentage of those that were, say, guys who were third team on the depth chart who weren't going to play. But also, Jordan Domineck had 7.5 tackles for you, or sacks, and if he's back next year, you have a proven sack artist who he wasn't an every down guy. And on his sack in the Liberty Bowl, I noted this in the paper. he got pancaked by a running back on that very play, got up and then chased down Jalen Daniels and was in on the sack. So then he had another sack too, a 9-yarder. But Sam Pittman said when he got this job that the one thing that was not going to be an issue for him was communication. He goes, we might have some issues on this team, but one thing we're not going to have is a lack of communication. I'm going to listen. And I think it's important for him right now to listen. I'm talking about exit interviews of guys who are out of eligibility, exit interviews of guys who've entered the portal, if they have them, and then talk to current players on the team. What's going on? What has led to this? There's a lack of playing time component. Is there other NIL money out there that we've heard thrown around component? And then there's what's the team culture like? And Sam Pittman has got to communicate with folks and find out, get to the bottom of it and have a unified team moving forward where maybe you don't have so many guys peeling off.
Yeah. So you're as close to this team, and you mentioned 3 kind of scenarios there with NIL being part of it, playing time and culture. What does your gut tell you? There's coaching staff changes that seemed inevitable this year with Barry Odom. What do you think is at the core of such a high volume of portal players?
Tommy, I think it's all 3 that I just mentioned, and I can't give you percentages on each one. I think from the coaching staff movement standpoint, each one of those guys moved up. I mean, Barry Odom, coordinator to head coach. Mm-hmm. Dowell Loggins, position coach to coordinator. Michael Shearer, position coach to coordinator. So, I just go back to the communication part, okay? Of the 3 elements I listed, I just think the part that you can really control is the communication, understanding on the team. And so that's what Sam Pittman's got to look at during this offseason because, is the NIL stuff maybe partly in your control? The playing time, maybe not so much. But I did say this leading into the bowl with you guys. I think they have to make the commitment to playing guys more who are second-teamers just so they have the thought, I'm contributing. Let me find out how I can play. And I think a great example was Marion Harris, who came in first quarter for Tykees Crawford, and you didn't hear really his name other than this kid's in the game. So that means he knew his assignments. He did his job. I don't know if he had any missed assignments or allowed any pressures or anything, but he survived the game. He did well. And so I think it's incumbent upon the Arkansas coaching staff next year to give more guys like Marion Harris playing time so they feel part of the team.
Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Whole Hog Sports. So you made the parallel with Arkansas and Texas A&M, both having 24 guys entering the portal. Is that a red flag right now, Tom, for this football program?
Well, I mean, you can characterize it however you want. 24 is a big number. It doesn't matter what percentage went for whatever reasons. 24, I mean, it's an alarming number because you have to, this transfer portal period is opening back up, I think, tomorrow, and they have to replenish. And if they don't get playmakers the way they did in last year's deal, I mean, because you think the Jordan Domineck, Jaden Hazelwood, Drew Sanders, Dwight McLaughlin, Landon Jackson, there was a ton of big-time contributors. They've got to get the same type. And I know from the starting point of a veteran quarterback is coming back for you, that's a good thing, and a great running back. So they're in a good place to start with, but they've got to bulk up at a bunch of positions. And so, yes, I would be concerned as Sam Pittman or a Razorback fan.
Switching over to basketball tomorrow night, Tom, I know Arkansas wants to kind of get back on track in SEC play against Missouri Tigers. A team kind of like LSU that was kind of flying under the radar heading into conference play has been a lot better. Do you think this team gets back on track tomorrow night against Missouri?
Well, it's a home game, a lot of pride here. I do think they should win the game at home, right? But Missouri, I mean, that win over Illinois was very impressive, beating Kentucky, impressive. they're not an easy out, and they're a really good three-point shooting team. So I think that's priority number one, is to not let them have good, easy, clean looks at the three-point line, and then just be physical, out-rebound them, get to the free throw line, and they have to stress what has helped make them get off to a good start, and that's drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. And it didn't happen against LSU. Now, I've read what people have said. It was a very, very physical game. It just wasn't called real tight. The low free throw numbers on both sides confirm that. And so Arkansas just got to get back to work and be physical with Missouri.
Yeah, and, when you've dropped one on the road, I mean, I was just doing the math kind of in my head earlier in the hour that if you win all your home games, which that's a stretch, right? That's 9. So that means you got to win 4 or 5 on the road if you're going to get to that 14-ish number that we think is where you need to be in contention for the regular season conference title. So, I mean, you've given away on the road a little bit. We know the difficulty of the games at the end of the season. Tom, it just drives home how paramount games like Missouri at home, and I remember they lost to, I think it was Vanderbilt last year, and it seemed like, what's going on here? It just drives home the importance of these home games, particularly with a team like Missouri.
No doubt. I mean, you start the year thinking, all right, we need to win all our games at home in conference, and if you drop one, then you got to get some on the road, and the Razorbacks certainly did that last year. So, I mean, no cause for panic. Still kind of sorting things out after the Brazil and Nick Smith situations. I think the talent is there. I think it's just a matter of deploying guys in the right ways, distributing the minutes properly, and doing what you do. And we know that Eric Musselman has a track record of making that happen.
Is winning 9 at home reasonable for any SEC team this year?
I don't see why not. I know that the level of the conference is tougher, and there's going to be some really difficult home games, but obviously it can be done, and Arkansas is of the caliber that if anybody in the conference can do it, I think they're a strong contender.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.